YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. All new J3 Cub from Hangar 9. This thing is huge. 82.5 inches, 2.09 meters. This thing is gigantic. You can get it in 10cc. We are getting ours in electric, and it is huge, beautiful, ultra detailed. Show them the pilot quick. Yes, my throttle cut is on. Go from the front. Absolutely gorgeous. This thing is so well equipped and also absolutely phenomenal looking. We're flying ours on 6S, which means we use the smaller provided prop, not the bigger. And if you want to fly yours on 4S, you can use the bigger prop. But we'll see how that works out. Wooden props, both of them. Takeoff flaps, landing flaps. We did set up flaperons. Camera crew, come back over to the right. We also set up something else that a J3 Cub normally doesn't have, and that'd be thrust reverse. So I'm gonna show you that right now. Throttle cuts off. As you can see, we can go backward, and that's gonna help us on our shorter strip. So without further ado, here is nothing. Beautiful J3 Cub. Get it on its mains. Oh my goodness, it's so dang good. Using the rudder to turn that big, beautiful, yellow AS3X Plus locked in, rock solid performance. And we haven't even made a whole circuit. Look at this, guys. Oh, it's so dang gorgeous. Full throttle, 6S. It's gonna get the job done, but you're not talking about a carbon Cub. I wanted you guys to see that. Oh man, it is so beautiful though. I think I need one click of trim on the elevator. We are technically tail heavy by, well, we're inside the range with 4000 6S 50C smart pack from Spectrum. A little bit of beautiful slip like you would see in a carbon, or excuse me, in a Cub, a J3 Cub specifically. And Mother Nature has provided some beautiful, beautiful views for us today with this gorgeous sunset. And when I say set, I mean rise.
Yes.
You guys may have figured out we usually film at night more frequently. Flying in tight spots with big planes is one of the reasons why we are where we are, folks. Oh, look at the glass. It's so dang gorgeous. Coming back out of the power, a little bit of throttle, just keep that prop tractoring. Absolutely wonderful performance. AS3X has this locked in. I am gonna give it a couple clicks. For the elevator, I wanna get my finger off of the stick. That would be my elevator stick. I am curious to see how the flaps work too, because we did flaperons on ours and help you guys decide if you need it on yours. Okay, there we are. So we're going level. Maybe just a touch of roll. I wanna see if that roll is AS3X right overhead right this time. Oh yes, and it's so gorgeous. Guys, let's go over a couple of steps and get some pond footage. Beautiful sunrise. This thing is huge and it is beautiful. It is so gorgeous. The wrap on it is perfect, guys. The plane looks absolutely real, and I hope that we can wet the whistle of one particular full-scale pilot that happens to fly tail draggers. And his name is Joel. Joel, get out here with your J3 Cub. And then we have another one. Dave, get out here with your J3 Cub. We need to put it right next to a full-scale J3 Cub. We're just gonna do a couple of figurines, figure 8-ines. This thing is solid. Oh, listen.
The scream.
I love the scream. Oh man, it's so good. Guys, you have to coordinate your turns to get that tail around the way you want it to. And I love that, I love it. So we did set up a custom mix, and with this 82.5 inch body is so big, we have to actually be careful not to hit things. Oh man, our biggest plane that we've flown here on this property, I think is 9 feet or So that's still technically a little bit bigger than this, but this thing is huge, guys. And it looks so good doing it. If you guys are scale aficionados and you love general aviation, by the way, about 30 to 40% throttle for normal putzing around, and you get into it hard on maneuvering for aerobatics, okay? Don't be afraid to do it. It's got plenty of power. Let's go about 3 steps over. Very good. A little slip. Nice straight slip. As you can see, you can, or not a slip, I'm trying to do a knife edge, guys. Let's try doing a roll. Remember, with the J3 Cub, you gotta actually run that elevator to do a roll like that. When you get to the top of the roll, you gotta apply a little bit of down elevator. And yes, that is a real end number, but no, it's not a real plane. I know it looks like it. Oh, here we go. Look at that. Oh, yes! 1 wheel touch and go for my first touch and wet. All right, cam crew, let's go back over to our normal spots. So yes, you can put floats on this, and yes, that would be gorgeous. Where are you going?
My normal
Go
spot.
to the edge. Perfect, thank you. I want to do more touch and goes. So if you want to come back just a hair, that'd be great. Thank you. A little bit of throttle, a little bit of rudder. Don't let that thing fall out from under you. Oh, yes! Grass hops are absolutely fantastic. 3-wheeled landings are gorgeous. I'm gonna back taxi it here. We'll take off just slightly more into the wind this time. Okay, getting up on the mains. Oh my goodness, it's not even a challenge, folks. It just does exactly what you want, exactly when you want it. And you know I love that. There's a little bit of wind coming from our shoulders. Let's go about 4 steps back toward me, please. Toward me. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, so the wind, all of a sudden, it's shifting. It's in our face now. I hear manned aircraft. It's a helicopter. It's large, and it's a long ways away, but I want to identify where it's coming from.
I don't see it yet. I'm listening.
They're low, probably over the interstate. It's very big, whatever it is.
It's either the Chinooks or the Blackhawks.
Yeah. Okay, I want to try some thrust reversage here. It's awesome, guys. You can bring this thing down so quick. I'm gonna just be very gentle. I wanted to lose my piece.
Oh, there he is.
Where is he?
Between the hole and the trees. He's gonna come straight over.
Okay, let's show the people what we're hearing. Guys, on YouTube, we always respect manned aircraft.
There he is.
Because if there's one rule that makes sense in model aviation, it's respecting manned aircraft. Remember, we love full scale, and we care more about the people in them. So just remember, stop and look, because that guy is coming right over our airspace. Yeah. To be clear, we fly totally compliant, legal, and in appropriate airspaces. G&E and other. We'll leave the rest to your imagination. But also here on Brian Phillips RC, we're the only channel that stops to watch them, because that's what we do. We really love full scale. Just go ahead and land it right here, Brian Phillips RC. You know you want it.
It's amazing how long we could hear him.
Yeah,
before you.
That's a Blackhawk.
Yep.
So guys, we have a Blackhawk wing that's actually north of us, a long ways.
Usually they're in pairs or in fulls.
Yeah, and geese, and geese.
Yep.
That is so dang cool, guys. Just land it right here, do it. If he circled, how cool would that be? That's our timer, guys. Okay, so our apologies for the interruption. As with anything else aviation, respect manned aircraft. That's pretty much the only rule that really needs to exist. Don't cut yourself with your props. Don't blow your batteries up and a hawk. Yeah. Man, it's like all the aircraft was like, oh, the J3 Cub's out. Let's go watch.
Let's go check it out.
Okay, so thrust reverse was perfect, guys. Near perfection. 4,000 milliamp hours, all the way up to the firewall, has this thing cruising. Now I'm just gonna show you a short field takeoff here. Haven't even showed you flaps yet. Okay, so short field takeoff, full throttle, she's in the air. What did that take, about 15, 18 feet, probably. Somewhere in there? Mm-hmm. To actually be in the air. Love the scream. Now, there's gonna be others that wanna fly this thing like they stole it, and I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. Once you guys get your own, you can do that. This thing will do almost all the aerobatics you want, but I am gonna tell you this, it is not the Carbon Cub. It is not gonna be as greasy in that regard because it's got such a high profile on the wing. It's got a high lifty wing. It's got a lot of drag. And so when you fly it, just remember, you're gonna be flying it as such. Let's do a stall turn here for you. So obviously this thing will execute flawlessly. I'm telling you, this thing is so awesome to fly. I love it. And yes, you can do all the regular snaps that you see us do all the time, the cornholes as we like to call them. Yes, that's what a cornhole is. Okay, now I'm gonna try a level flight, takeoff flaps. Oh my goodness. Landing flaps. And still plenty of authority to fly, guys. It slows it way down. Okay, out of the flaps, into the throttle hard. I wanna try a landing with takeoff flaps and landing flaps. I'm gonna get the flaps only after I'm in final alignment and I'm stabilized the aircraft. That's because, obviously, when you have a huge plane, you don't wanna crash it. You don't wanna get it in too low and slow before you know how it's gonna respond. Plus, I want my roll authority. My roll authority is largely given up when I put on flaperons, okay? It's not gone, but it's a lot less, okay? So we're going over the tops of the trees. A little bit of throttle, keeping the throttle. Watch out for the UPS stick or the anti-UPS stick. And that is awesome, guys, with thrust reverse. You see that landing? I mean, you come in here, you land, it's right there. Now, grass hops, admittedly, ground is frozen-ish, so we're gonna be kind of cheating here. I just want you guys to understand, we realize that it matters. The ground condition makes a difference. I'm just doing a little back taxi I normally wouldn't do, so I give you a more amazing takeoff with the sun behind us. Okay, keep that nose right where you want it. And guys, it is just so dang easy to fly. I mean, the camera crew could fly this. I'm serious, it's that easy. It's like Carbon Cub, and then the knife edges are just like, gorgeous. They happen automatically. It's like, absolutely wonderful. Upside down flight performance is fine. I'm not a huge fan of flying upside down just because it just feels weird and wonk. I know you guys love it. And a lot of people, you are really into that. Nothing wrong with being into stuff that Brian Phillips RC isn't. But I gotta say, it's okay not to be into it too. There's a lot of guys that are not into 3D, especially with certain planes. And I gotta say, what I love is making it look real and making it look close. Ooh, in the sun, that thing just pops. Oh man. Another knife edge because I can. And yes, on 6S, you got so much power. You can hammerhead this thing if you want. I'm just gonna get it flying. I gotta see it up against those trees a couple times. Camera crew, let's go over by the bowl for a second here. We're gonna stay out of the sun. Hard on the throttle. Coordinate your turns. Don't forget, guys, if you want to mix it, you can. I'm going to show you the mix that we set up in our unbox build radio setup. I'm going to go up over the flagpole. Okay, so I'm turning on the mix with a little bit of differential. Let's see how that makes the roll. The roll feels nice and clean. I don't feel any adverse yaw. That was a 65%. Now, let's just do a circuit like that. Oh, and by the way, because we got an avian ESC, we've got thrust reverse. We've also got a lot of telemetry. We did a quick update to our unbox that we forgot to put in the unbox about turning on and off certain alarms. Okay, it feels very good that way. Now let's turn on the mix as well. This is gonna add in a mix on switch C.
Did you notice your shadow over the field?
I did not, I'm gonna this time.
It was cool.
Okay, so I am so used to coordinating my turns automatically. Oh man,
like way out there.
It really feels good. That mix.
Do you like it more?
I don't know, it's kind of hard. I'm trying to decide. Like I'm just taking such an easy circuit that I feel like, you know, it's just, I'm so used to using both thumbs, especially on a big plane like this, because you really got to fly them when they're big like this, as in you got to keep them pointed where you want. That's really all you got to do. It's not hard, it's very responsive. But if you don't fly a Cub like this, oh, I love the scream. Guys, listen, I'm gonna try to get the scream closer. You good, camera crew?
That's impressive.
It is so good, guys. Doesn't have to be a complete stall. I love the sound.
Did you say that we used an AR-631?
We used an AR-631, folks. They recommended a 637T. In fact, that's what some of you are gonna want for full range telemetry. I was totally fine with the lesser expensive option. I would suggest that you guys consider that as well. The 630, I don't know. I want the external antenna. And I would say for those of you that are really reaching out and touching somebody from a long ways, you might benefit from the AR 637T. You gotta remember, we're out in the boonies. We don't got anybody to deal with. And that may be true for most of your flying fields, but it just kind of depends on your application. If you got a big cell tower or something weird that might cause additional potential for interference, or you do a lot of huge events and stuff where you want that diversity antenna instead of just the singular. And I just want you guys to understand something. This plane does it, and it does it well. Oh, I promised a hammerhead, didn't I? Okay, so I'm gonna come out of the differential and the mix, and I'm gonna try that same maneuver, okay? So I'm gonna come up. Oh, it's a little bit sloppier. That's kind of weird. Huh. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my differential 65%. We'll do the same exact move. A little bit of testing here. A little different there, cleaner. That did actually make a pretty big difference. Okay. The roll felt less resistive. You know, like it's kind of hard to explain, but I feel like when I really tip the wings over, it's like, oh, that was a low voltage pulse, okay? 20.4 volts at the ESC, okay? Got plenty of landing power here. A little bit of slip, 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 slip. Full thrust reverse. Oh, yes! Now, I gotta say something. That landing was only forced because I wanted to show you guys something. Throttle cuts on. The landing gear are springy. Look at that. We are pretty much spent. Okay, and by the way, just to be clear, that's 8, 11, 12, past 8, but we landed for at least probably 2 minutes for that helicopter. Probably so let's call it about 10 to 12 minutes of safe flying time. And again, it's gonna totally depend on how you fly it. This thing, you can fly it like you stole it, or you can fly it like Grandpa. It doesn't matter. And Grandpa might have flown like he stole it too. So I'm gonna go ahead and take back off because I can. What I was talking about, you'll see in our unbox build radio setup, but I basically have a 25% rudder aileron mix, and I have differentials. So you'll see that the left wing goes up, the aileron goes up higher than the right one, and so on and so forth. Now, if I turn off the differential, you'll see the other one drops down, see? So that's differential because we set this up as a wing type flaperon. Now you can also have differential if you just do dual aileron. If you don't want the flap function, that's fine. I do suggest that you add it. It's certainly not necessary. You can fly this plane flying without flaps. I haven't landed with flaps except for the one time, but I do want to get a greasy landing if I can get one. So let's see if I can get in the air. Also, 5006 SI would be amazed if this plane can't handle it. The straps are huge, but they recommend 3200. Okay, let's just get in the air. 3200 or 4000, just so you know, on 6S. I'm gonna be very careful on my power just because I want to try to get a greasy, delicious landing. I've got the differential and rudder mixing. Oh, and by the way, safe. Here's safe, guys.
You could turn off stabilization too.
Oh yeah, if you want that sort of thing.
Well, I just think some of the guys that want a plane like this are probably gonna fly without a stabilizer.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And that was, guys, that was a safe landing, just a little bit of rudder to kind of help guide it. And I was not getting aggressive because I wanted you to see how it would roll if you don't use thrust reverse. Yeah. Most of you are gonna be fine, especially if you're grass hops. Okay, so I'm gonna come out of safe this time, and I'll go ahead and do, I'll see if I can get in the air. I'm gonna wait for, she's gonna start chiming at me here, but I'm gonna see if I can get in the air. Here's a trick, guys. If you're low on juice and you wanna be safe, get in the throttle, get in the air, understanding that you might lose power is fine. Just be ready for it, okay? Going around the UPS, anti-UPS stick. Woo, woo! Even when she bites, she didn't bite. I was in ground effect, pulled up way too much, and you could see I tried to put it in that stall, and all I had to do was correct with the rudder. It was super easy. I will admit I'm nervous because I'm low on power, okay? I'm afraid it's gonna pulse right when I need a thrust. And so I'm flying different because of it. So I'm thinking I'm gonna get more altitude this time.
Okay. Sure, that's
all right,
the
let's
answer.
check. Let's just check right now, real quick. Okay, so looks like we're at, yeah, I mean, it's not dead. Okay, here we go. So I backed off the throttle, guys. I'm at 30–40% throttle. I'm gonna just get into it. Now remember, thrust reverse is ineffective with a low battery. It's not totally nothing, okay? Remember, this is an efficiency landing, guys. You might wonder why I fly so high for my approaches. That's because those trees blend into one another, okay? So I can't see them, okay? Grass hops are gonna be a daydream with this plane. It'll be totally fine. Look at the clearance on 6S. You're gonna have that smaller prop is gonna give you tons of clearance. So when you come in to bring it in to touch ground, you're not gonna be splattering grass all over everything. Throttle cut is on. Let's show the people. See that? Got plenty of clearance there. Even, I mean, a nose over is gonna take a long time to get to, but I gotta say, this J3 Cub leaves nothing on the table. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I know there's some of you that are like, oh, but can I hammerhead and can I do all this and can I do 3D and flips and all this? You know, to be honest with you, it feels like the thing could probably handle a lot more power and it would still be solid, okay? But not every plane has to be that thing. I still love this plane. It is so good. We recently did another plane that was very light and very good. And I'm not saying that that takes anything away from this or this takes anything away from that, but they're different planes, folks. We need to get our minds straight on this because different planes have different reasons. We also did not have a fuel indicator float. I mean, the details on this are gorgeous. For being a wood plane, look down the length of the wing and tell me that you don't want that thing. It's absolutely to die for. Every finish on this is gorgeous. Everything that you do on it works good, okay? This plane just does the stuff that you want it to do. And that's part of the reason why I'm gonna tell you right now, it is one of our nicest planes, first of all. It's probably, admittedly, one of our more expensive planes, but compared to, if you're wanting 3D crazy and you still want the possibility of some scale beauty, then maybe go with the Timber SWS, the Sport Wood Series, okay? But boy, oh boy, if you want a gorgeous plane, you don't have to look anywhere else. It's right here in front of your very eyes. J3 Cub. No, you don't have to like remortgage the house. It's not that bad. But the thing is, if you're going gas, it's gonna be pretty expensive. If you get the ARF, remember there's a million steps, like 198 steps or some such thing.
Like that. Oh, there's a lot.
So we did about probably 40. Our unbox is a lot longer than usual, but that's because we're trying really hard to make sure that we cover all the details that you might need. Because if you're sitting in your chair and you're watching me fly this and you're thinking, there's no way I could ever do that, or I've never learned to do that, or I should have learned to do that, I want to do that. These are some of the different choices that you might check the boxes. There's none of you that says, I don't want to do that. So if you're in any of those camps, I'm just gonna tell you this right now. You need this plane, you need it today, you're gonna love it, it's gonna make your life better. It's beautiful, it's big, it does come apart, it's not without effort. You're gonna have to, the way I set it up, you're gonna pull one pin, two things come out, and then one wing nut. And by the way, in order to lift this, I put a piece of tape here, and yes, I know it's kind of like Uggo, but the thing is, that is hard to pull off otherwise. And it's heavy, so try to lay it like this, okay? And you can see huge, huge room. By the way, both chairs and the pilot can come out after the fact. Throttle cut is on, hun. Then there's a release back here. You have to release this pin in order to pop that up. So don't get it out of the box and try to pull it off because you got to release that thing, okay? Mine's kind of sticky, by the way, too. It stays, but you do have to get it back. It's supposed to be spring loaded, okay? But I mean, guys, look how nice that is. It's so gorgeous. I mean, it's just got perfect finishes. That's a bubble. It's not flat, it's a bubble, just like it would be in real life. So I just love the build quality. I love how easy it was to actually put together for being a balsa wood model. A couple things I don't love. I always talk about the things I don't love. One, the tires are actually soft, and I haven't had a chance to figure out how to land it without bouncing, okay? So that's a me issue. I can work through that with more flight practice. Two, I really want to fly it on the bigger prop with 6S, so I'm not sure that I really care what they think, but it's probably going to demand more than the electrical system can deliver. And that's why you're using a smaller prop. So for those of you that want the bigger prop that's more, you know, amazing looking, because like honestly, that looks pretty scale to me, but I don't have a J3 Cub in the hangar yet.
It does come with both props, the 4S
Yes.
and the 6S.
And the one glaring issue that I see with this plane is not a glaring issue because it's a scale plane. And that is no LEDs and flaps. That's because they don't come on a J3 Cub. There wouldn't be lights on it. There wouldn't be flaps in most circumstances. Now, there are people that add lights, and you can add lights too. So honestly, I just like the idea of we are in reality flying a small moving object from the ground. And the older I get and the more that my body deteriorates, especially my eyes, even with LASIK, 4 times or 3 times?
3.
3 times. I still would like the extra visibility. And by the way, visibility is perfect during the day. I mean, this yellow is second to none.
Amazing.
But when it starts getting dark, as with anything, I fear that just that little tiny bit will help. One light, one light, one light. Red, green, and white. I love them. It doesn't have to be a bunch of weird strobes and stuff like that unless you want it. And to be honest with you, I love the way that this plane looks without lights. So it's one of the few that I'd be like, okay, fine. But I still want the lights from a functional standpoint as an RC pilot, okay? I think it becomes more of like a safety and utilization thing, okay?
Right.
Because a lot of people fly in off season like we do, meaning it's winter in Iowa and we fly in winter in Iowa. So if you're like us, then that would be something you might like too. Now, that all being considered, it's not something you can't add, and it certainly is done right, okay? So that's not a huge negative on this plane, and we pretty much say that about every plane we talk about that doesn't have them.
Even if it's a scale feature to not have.
To not have, yeah. So, inboard flaps, not a big deal. This thing doesn't probably need them, and I've heard that a million times from a million different people. I'm still putting flaps on my planes, as you can see.
Right.
Flaperons. And by the way, adding flaperons is the matter of just following the instructions. It's a wing type choice.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. They pretty much assume you're going to separate everything.
Yeah, because we don't even have to split out the ailerons. They're already
They run the
separated.
wires to the wing points. So it's very easy to do. And you'll see all that on the unboxed build radio setup. The worst part of building this plane is putting these things on.
Yeah. And
That was the worst part.
Yeah.
Everything else was so easy. And guys, I'm not building the ARF, so understand that. The ARF is going to be a lot more work, and I just want you guys to understand we're not trying to blow smoke. That's not what we do on Brian Phillips RC. We want you guys to trust what we tell you, because at the end of the day, we just want you to have a great experience. We're not owned by any one of these companies. We do a lot of business with these different companies that we do, and Horizon's one of our biggest. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. We love this plane, and we really like working with Horizon. But that doesn't mean that we're not gonna talk about the things we don't love about it. I also am a little bit bummed that I couldn't get the CG stock right out. I feel like the heavier battery would be no problemo, folks.
But it's not like it flew tail heavy.
No, it didn't feel bad at all. It felt great. But I'm gonna tell you this, a Cub that flies tail heavy is gonna be like really wonkadelic. It's gonna slide around like crazy. This thing felt rock solid. AS3X, I didn't even touch my gain knob.
No.
Like, I didn't even know it was there. So, it is calm, admittedly. We've had like almost no calm weather.
Yeah.
What is this guy doing? Where is he going?
I don't know. He's right there.
He's totally in a weird spot.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, is this the plane for you? That's the question you have to ask. Because I'm gonna tell you this, I think we've answered the question if this plane is good. This plane is good.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. It is big. It is well built. It's kind of heavy, but it handles the weight like it's nothing. And by the way, 10, 12, 13 minute flight times on a 4,000 milliamp hour 6S pack is a good flight time, okay? We're not talking about a carbon Cub where it's made of foam and you could get 20 if you push it, okay? We're not talking about a carbon Cessna 150T. That one I can also squeeze 18, 19, 20 minutes out of. But then again, I would typically be flying that very light. I'm very generous, very conservative flights, okay, to get that type of flight time,
Right.
okay? And also when the batteries are new.
And I think it's worth reminding people that it comes in 3 finish levels.
Yes.
We have the PNP,
electric PNP.
Yep.
Because you can put the gas engine in this and you can fly it as a gasser, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
And someday I'm hoping I can bump into one of you guys at an event, let me fly your gas plane just to get a feel for it, because I have not flown gas planes except for at Jono. I did fly an NG model.
Yep.
Yeah, it was huge. It was probably twice as big as this.
Yeah.
And I was very concerned. But yeah, this plane is just amazing, folks. If you want a scale Cub, this is the ticket right here.
Yeah.
And it is wrapped perfectly. I mean, it is absolutely, I think we found one imperfection, and it was like on the inside back of the elevator.
Yeah.
By a millimeter. I mean, I could never get it nearly this good.
And nothing in the build was hard. It's just more time consuming.
Yeah, it was just kind of awkward in a couple of moments, just because we tried to show them how this is actually installed. The camera crew gave me some information that was wrong.
I was partially wrong.
Yeah, she said they go on the bottom because she looked at the drawing and she misunderstood where the drawing is.
Yep.
You will have
These
a
go on
heck
the
of a
top.
time if you try to go on the bottom.
And the pins are on the bottom, but the actual struts go
And then
in
let's
from
show
the
them
top.
one other thing.
Yep.
Camera crew, I'm gonna lift this up if you wanna stand up. Throttle cut is on, folks. This thing is heavy, so just plan on it. You see, I used one pin to hold both.
Yes.
Okay, so one of these cotters.
Yep. So the cotter pin goes on the bottom, but the actual struts themselves.
Yeah. And then on mine, you can see on the second one there.
Yep.
Okay. And then this is what I was talking about. These things are probably a little bit more hard than what they will be when it's warmer out.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. And then also, I think they struck the balance between rock hard diamond sharpening tires.
Yeah.
And so soft that you lay it on the table and it squishes a flat. To be honest with you, I'll take that one if I was gonna choose, because soft tires really help to dampen everything. And I think they look super realistic, because on a real plane, they tend to be pretty soft. So this plane, it's a go, okay? Just go ahead and order it right now.
Yeah.
There's not gonna be many of them after you see this video, because people are gonna buy them. Okay?
And they should be available to ship immediately.
That's right.
It's not a pre-order thing.
Yeah, this is
in stock now.
they're in right now.
Yep.
And you may have seen one of our buddies doing a video a while back, and so he was helping out the factory with some opportunities there. And I tell you what, this plane is very good. Okay. My complaints about this plane are mostly just complaints about J3 Cubs. Okay, there are some like strange behaviors on a J3 Cub, so it's really not a complaint. It's more of like an understanding that you're going to have certain ways that the tail slides around, and we've seen that on every J3 Cub we've ever flown. Okay, now Carbon Cubs sort of take care of some of those things, but the J3 Cub flies different. It's so weird, because when I first started this, I was like, oh, I just need like a high wing and it's like maybe a jet.
Yeah,
then I'll be good. 2 planes, right? You remember I told you it'd be 2?
Mm-hmm.
What are we up to, like 400 now?
I remember those days.
So yeah, I love planes, and I've seen a lot of them. I've flown a lot more. And I'll tell you what, this plane is good, okay? I hope someday in my life I'll have enough time to build something from kit to this finish. My grandpa and I used to build together. He would build the kits, I would help him put the electronics in, and then we would fly them. They were never anywhere close to this.
No.
But there are people that build just as nice as this. It's just, they're few and far between, so.
And Mike lives a long ways away.
That's right, yeah, Mike, and then Saul. Yeah.
Yes, oh my goodness.
Yeah, just plain
For sure.
crazy.
Just
plain crazy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, just plain crazy. So you should check him out on YouTube. So he is the videographer at Jono, if you didn't know that. So
he does a lot of their build, helps with a
shout
lot
out
of their projects.
to Saul.
Yeah.
Okay. This plane is good. You'll want one, Saul. All right, so that's all we got for you today. Signing off for today, balsa wood planes have staying power. That's what I'm gonna close with, okay? Foam planes are amazing, and we sell them like they are the best thing, because they are the best thing for most people, okay? And that's the reason we talk like that, because we love them, because that's what most people are gonna get. But over here in balsa world, this is the type of plane that's gonna be hanging up in 20 years and it's gonna look just as good. You might need to go in here with an iron and take out a wrinkle or two, or maybe take a heat gun and tighten up the film. That's it. And then it's gonna go and fly. And it's gonna be perfect unless you crash it. And that's the other flip side. And I just wanna talk about that for those of you that are thinking about getting this that aren't ready for it. This is expensive and it's big, okay? That doesn't mean you can't get it. It doesn't mean you can't get spare parts, and it doesn't mean you can't fix it. But I just want you guys to know the truth, the full truth, and nothing but the truth. That's what we do on Brian Phillips RC, because anybody can come on camera on YouTube and lie through their teeth and tell you how great everything is, okay? We want to be positive about things when they're cheap and maybe have some flaws, because they're cheap and they have flaws. But when they're expensive and we have demands, that's where we're really going to be critical. And so that's part of the reason why we bring up things like LEDs on these planes, guys. That's it. I can't find anything else wrong with this plane. It is so well done. The last time we did a big balsa wood plane for Horizon, I think the motor mount fell off. We had nothing on this plane. It was like perfect, okay? Yeah. So packaging was actually, that was my worst favorite part of this plane, packaging.
And because it's not wrong with it. You just don't like it.
There's nothing wrong with it. I just prefer to have the foam packaging. I just think it does a better job.
But that's not how Hangar 9.
But this box is huge.
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 Yes.
And it's packed in pretty tight, okay?
Like if you, well, never mind.
You will love this plane.
Yeah.
If you get it. But don't get it if you're not ready. Here on Brian Phillips RC, we want to see everybody find success wherever they are on that spectrum of experience, okay? Everybody starts somewhere and everybody flies, hopefully until the day they die, okay? Or maybe a few days before they die, depending on how you die. If it's a beer truck, it might be the same day. So just remember, and that's true, you're not guaranteed tomorrow, you're not guaranteed health. You know, you could have your arms eaten by alligators tomorrow. You never know, camera crew. It could be a shark attack.
Pretty sure I can rule that one out.
You could be starting a prop on a full scale and lose both hands, okay?
Yeah,
and then you'll be flying with like your mouth and stuff, which I would still do.
There's that one guy that does.
Yeah. So there are people that are quadriplegics that use their mouth to fly. And so I'm serious, guys. I'm not just saying this to be a smart aleck. And a lot of times I am, but today I'm not, this time. So what I'm saying is there's no guarantees that you're gonna have eyesight. There's no guarantees you're gonna have the health that you have today. And if you have the health today and you can fly this stuff today, then get in the air today. Or do some practice and get in the air in a few weeks. But the thing is, don't wait to fly until the opportunity passes you by, okay? It is not easy to fly RC. Anybody who tells you that is lying to you, but you can probably do it. Okay, now there are people that have physical limitations. There are people that have trouble getting to sites or maybe don't have the finances to do it. You don't have to spend this kind of money to fly. Start somewhere cheaper, we'll help you. BrianPhillipsRC.com, bprc.me. That's the short link for BrianPhillipsRC.com, okay? So if you go to either one of those places, take you to the same spot, and you can go to beginner planes, this will not be in it. You wanna know why? Because even though this would be easy to fly, this would be a great returning pilot's plane. You wanna know why? Because it's gonna fly just like any other J3 Cub you flew years ago, except it's gonna have performance behind it, okay? And what I say when I say performance is I mean stiff, rigid, powerful control surfaces with power to match. That's something you didn't have in the past, I guarantee it, okay? Fly this thing on 4S at half throttle. That's what you would have had back in the day. You'd have been getting off the ground down there, not here, okay? So these things come power-packed, punchy, juicy, delicious, but you can still grease the landings because the power system is so much lighter than it was yesteryear, okay? And that's to say, I don't have to go in and wipe off any gas from the sides, okay? No alcohol, no nitro, none of that crap.
Unless you're into that. And then
if you're into that, you can do that. But I'm just saying the option exists. Yep. Also, the noise function is a big function that stops some people from going with gas planes. So they go with smaller planes because they can't get them. This plane you can get, all right? Yep. So if you're just returning to the hobby, you have the skills, you have the muscle memory, and you just want something that you'll want, this would not be a terrible spot. But I'm gonna tell you this, follow our unbox build radio setup. It is long, it will be an investment that's well spent. Get yourself an NX8 or an NX10, don't cheap out. You'll use the money wisely, okay, I promise. Because you'll be 6, 7 planes deep and you'll be very glad you got it. The NX8 is where we're moving to, by the way, from the NX10. So, and nothing wrong with the 10, we just don't need the Hall FX gimbals and we don't need the sliders, we almost never use them. But now that we have 20 channels on either, we're going back to the 8. We'll show you exactly that process as we work into it. Anybody who bought a 10 because I recommended it, it was because you couldn't get the extra channels back when they were just offering it with the older firmware.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we have the firmware that gives us 20 channels and AS3X Plus, which is awesome, we're gonna start recommending the 8 again for those of you that need it, okay? Because most of us don't need sliders and most of us don't absolutely need Hall effects. The Hall effects sensors are nice, the gimbals, but most of us don't need it, okay? You might want it and then you pay the premium, okay?
Right.
And it's a pretty significant premium. It's like another quarter more, okay? All right, so J3 Cub, amazing. You'll love it. It's gonna be good. You're not gonna regret getting it unless you're inexperienced and not ready for it. If you are inexperienced and you want a Cub, get the J3 Cub. It's actually the Super Cub, UMX S2. Get it. It's gonna cost you like 130 bucks. Everything comes in the package. You open it up, you follow along in our build, you do everything we did, and then you go fly it in the front yard, legal, sub 250, no stupid FRIAs to deal with, no stupid remote ID to deal with. You just go out there and enjoy it. And then you say, I can't believe I can do it. And then guess what? In a few short months, if you're serious about it, you could be flying this plane. And a few paychecks later.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's more expensive. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. The battery in this plane costs more than that entire plane.
Yes.
Okay, the battery. So just keep that all in mind and spend your pennies wisely, because I know you want this thing. All right, any questions, leave them in the comments below. We're gonna get our unboxed build radio setup ready for you. It's gonna publish same day. It should be up for you right now. And you can enjoy all of that nonsense because it is a long video. Forgive us. We wanna show all the details for the people that need help. If you don't, remember, when you complain to me, you're actually telling Johnny over here that you don't want him to fly. And you're telling Jane over there that you don't want her to fly. And I'm sorry, we want them both to fly, just like you are, okay? So long format video on Brian Phillips RC is where it's at. We're gonna do the shorts for those of you that have a short attention span and to keep the algorithm happy with us, okay? But they're always clips from our full length footage. All right, so stay tuned. So much more right around the corner on Brian Phillips RC. Thanks so much for watching. Guys, if you want to support us, buy from the links in the video description below. It's the #1 way you can support us financially, even beyond members on Patreon, members on YouTube, YouTube Super Thanks for one-time donations, and Patreon for one-time donations, or excuse me, PayPal for one-time donations. Just remember, we're friends and family unless you like to line the pockets of whoever took over for Elon. Nobody knows who that is.
No.
It's some random dude. They've run it into the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should do any RC on PayPal because they've run it into the ground so bad.
Dangerous.
All right, guys, that's all we got for you. We're so glad you're here with us. I'm Brian Phillips RC, and we have so much more content right around the corner. We want to get you out of the chair and into the air and give you the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. Because at the end of the day, anybody can get on YouTube and tell you that this is the best, this is the best, this is the best, this is the best, this is the biggest, this is the biggest, this is the yellowest, this is the... That's a waste of time.
Can't all be that.
Our videos are long, and that's a waste of time, okay? We want you guys to see what it's really all about. And it's all about stuff like this. So get one. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.